Hello everyone, I'm the Constitutionalist Libertarian, and today we're going to be taking a look at a video from CNN Politics, written by Chris Cillizza. I hope I'm not butchering that too bad. 31 seconds of the healthcare vote that shows why people hate politics. CNN, Chris, you're trying to distance yourselves from the Democrats. Call it like it is. 31 seconds of the healthcare vote that shows why people hate Democrats. Why? Well, let's just take a look at this video here and see why the Democrats are hated. When you act like petulant children, like the Democrats in the House were during the getting of the 216 votes needed, it goes to show that you shouldn't be involved in the political process and guiding of this country, okay? When you act like that, it's surprising you can wipe your own asses because you're acting like children that are not at an age old enough to wipe your own ass, okay? When you act like that, you show your true colors and how scummy you are, that you can't get, that when you don't get your own way, you're going to throw a temper tantrum. When you act like that, okay, you make people look at you and just want to bitch slap you, okay, like baby powder, how high, take and shake the shit on your hand and go whack, because you deserve a whack to the fucking head when you do that stupid shit. I'm sorry, but it's true, okay? When you act a fucking fool, you deserve to be treated like a fucking fool. And these are supposed to be people that are professional and they're acting like fucking fools. So, you know, the left wants to go, oh, punch Nazis. How about bitch slap fucking Democrats? I mean, I'm not saying we should go out and bitch slap Democrats, but when Democrats act like that, you just wish that you could. Okay, let's actually get into the article here and look at how CNN tries to faux separate themselves from the Democrats. It's pretty sad. When House Republicans secured their 216th yes on the American Health Care Act Thursday, Democrats immediately began taunting their across-the-aisle rivals. No, they weren't taunting them, because taunting them, they'd actually have something to taunt them with. Because when the Republicans are actually doing what they said they would do, which is repeal Obamacare, because a lot of Republicans in the House and the Senate, even the president, ran on the repeal of Obamacare. And here they are taking steps to do that. So the Democrats thinking that the Republicans doing what they said they would do is going to get them out of their seats goes to show that they're also deluded and delusional, besides acting like children. They're in La La Land. It's so sad that these are people that somehow get elected to public office, okay? Corky from Life Goes On would make a better politician than any of these Democrats. Okay, and I don't care how politically incorrect that sounds. I'm thinking Corky for the House of Representatives. All right, if anyone can find Corky, we should get that guy on the, independent or Republican ticket and have him run for a Democratic seat, because he would be, or actually, no, we'll have him run for the Democrat seat, because we'll get rid of these morons and he'd be better to deal with. I'm sure he would be more rational and reasonable to deal with. I'm sure he would be, more adult about things, because, the Democrats that are in there now, these career politicians, they're making it clear that they shouldn't be doing the job that they're doing when they do stuff like this. It's so sad. I mean, look it. The implication was obvious. Democrats believe many Republicans had just cost themselves their political careers by voting for an overhaul of Obamacare. I just went through that, and no, they didn't. And the D.C. political class wonders why people hate them? No, they really don't wonder that because they don't care, because they look at themselves as we're better than you. They look down their noses. Okay, the Democrats are really bad at that. I mean, just look at what's going on with the DNC lawsuit because, oh, they're being sued because they wouldn't follow the will of the people, even though their own charter says that they have to. And they think that they can go and make backroom deals and decide who's going to be the Democrat candidate. Democrats are delusional. I understand that Democrats not only didn't like the way this bill was passed, without any estimates on what it might cost or how many people might lose coverage as a result, but also believe the policies contained in would leave the country and its people considerably worse off. Oh my God. Buddy. Oh, you are definitely a leftist when you say something stupid like that. Okay? Because the thing is, when you ignore the fact that Obamacare is bankrupt, that Obama is in the process of dodging a process server, pardon how I put that, because they're trying to subpoena him in a lawsuit because he literally bilked the investors in Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac of their dividends and stole the money from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to prop up Obamacare, okay? We're probably going to be better off with the repeal of Obamacare because, you know, when our president has to literally conspire and commit fraud to keep his golden child, the, you know, act named after him that's complete shit when it comes to health care, that should be your sign on how bad it is. But you people don't want to look at that fact. So we're better off without it because you know what? If we went back to what we had, okay, because you had people still getting, you know, government insurance through Medicare and Medicaid, whether they were elderly or poor or disabled, they still could get coverage. Now, with Obamacare, and what the Democrats don't want to tell the general masses is that you have people who shouldn't be getting Medicare getting it. Oh, like illegals. Yes, that's right, people. Illegals are getting Medicare. So that Medicare cut that people were freaking out about and going, oh, no, you can't cut Medicare, the Democrats are freaking out about, it was for illegals. If you're here illegally, why should you benefit from government services? You're a criminal. That was the whole point of getting rid of that cut, getting rid of that extra money from there, was give it to the people who deserve it, Americans, legal resident aliens. Okay, the illegals, they want health care. They're Mexican. If they're Mexican, they can go back to Mexico. If they're Guatemalan, go to Guatemala. If you're Haitian, and you're here illegally, which there aren't a lot of illegal Haitians, but I mean, it's not like, Hispanics, but if you're illegal Haitian, I know that your country's shit, and I apologize for that. It's not our fault, but don't come here illegally and bilk off of our system. Get your health care in Haiti, and try to make your country a better place. Try to make Mexico a better place if you're a Mexican. Don't come here illegally and consume our services. If you're a Guatemalan or a Venezuelan, go stay in your country and fix the problems there. Don't bring us more problems. But see, they don't tell you that with this whole thing with Obamacare, like covering these people, because they don't want you to know that you're getting screwed while they're building the next generation of Democrats to vote for them. Because they're using you. They don't care about you. This is a worthy conversation to have, but it's not what the Democrats were doing. Instead, they were jeering and mocking their colleagues. Actually, they were not jeering and mocking. They were acting like children and in La La Land to believe that this is actually going to cause Republicans to lose their seats. Look, we have two parties in this country for a reason. Actually, no, we have more than two parties here, buddy. Okay, but you're trying to push that false left-right paradigm, okay? And people are waking up to that. I mean, Just look at Stein there. Oh, that's right. You're trying to forget about Stein because she, being the Hitlery shill that she was, called for that recount in Detroit and actually showed all of the voter and possible election fraud that Democrats committed there when way before they reached the end of the ballot count, they had more ballots than they had registered voters. You also want to kind of push out of people's minds the other Hitlery shill there that ran on the libertarian ticket, and as a constitutionalist libertarian, okay, when I saw that guy, I was like, oh my God, he's a globalist shill. He's a Hitlery shill. When he's pushing the TPP, saying NAFTA's good, okay, and these idiot millennial libertarians are going, whoa, man, he's going to, like, legalize weed, so I'm going to, like, vote for him because I'm a libertarian, and they're ignoring the fact that he's promoting these globalist deals that benefit the other countries and corporations over the United States. There's a problem. He's calling it free trade. That's not free trade. Free trade is balanced. It's fair. It's a level playing field, and that's not what they had in any of those, like in the TPP. That's not what they had in the TPP. That's not what we have in NAFTA. So, I mean, the thing is, all right, trying to ignore and push those like parties out of sight, out of mind, because you know they make the Democrats look even shittier because they literally had two shills running in two other parties. And one of those shills showed her master's fraud. I mean, come on now. You don't want that to be known. You're pathetic, man. Democrats and Republicans don't always agree on the problems the country faces, but do almost always disagree on how to solve them. That is the point of the false left-right paradigm, is to make it so that nothing ever gets done. Because if we went by what the founding fathers intended, no political parties, because they were aware of them. There were political parties in England when they broke away from the United Kingdom. Or I should say, oh yeah, we'll say United Kingdom, even though England would be more appropriate. But when they broke away, okay, they knew about the evils of the political parties because they watched what they did to politics. In the House of Lords and the House of Commons, they looked at how it divided everyone, and they realized you have a person, you have a platform, and you let people decide for themselves on the person, not the party. They wrote about this. They warned us about what's going on here. They did. They were smart men. But see, that's another thing. They don't teach this stuff in school because they don't want you looking at that either. Because if you looked at that, then you would actually wake up from the false left-right paradigm and might actually say, I'm not going to play the game anymore. And when you don't play the game, you win. And that's the problem. They're afraid we'll do that and win. Debating those differences is the stuff of democracy. Giving the public the chance every 2 years to render their judgment on who has more right in the argument is the backbone of our political system. Well, actually, it depends on what level of government we're talking here, but you can actually have an election every year. It just depends. All right. You see, you don't want... you're writing an article in politics, and you don't know that, because mayors in certain locations are a yearly election. The same with like aldermans and stuff like that. I mean, you're writing an article in politics. Come on now. Poll after poll suggests that one thing both sides broadly agree on is that they prefer bipartisan compromise to go-it-aloneism. Really? Because the Republicans don't seem to have a problem going it alone. I don't have a problem with them going it alone. I'm independent. I mean, I'm a constitutionalist libertarian. I don't fall under either party, so I'm classified as an independent, although the left is going to call me an alt-right Nazi, I'm sure, and a fascist. But I got no problem with go it aloneism. If the Democrats are going to act like infantile, immature children, someone has to act like the adult and get stuff done. And considering that Democrats aren't going to buck up and take off their Pampers and put on their adult panties, okay, Republicans are going to have to just deal with that. You know, and if the Democrats don't like it, they can just keep throwing temper tantrums. Oh, too bad we can't throw them in timeouts, because they really deserve to have each a timeout. They really do when they're doing the stuff that they did with this whole situation. When House Democrats act like they did today, or President Trump acts like he does almost every day, we get further and further from the possibility of finding common ground or even just talking to each other like human beings. Oh, we can't leave out that shot at Trump, because he calls you out for being fake news, CNN, when you are fake news. Because he won't allow you to slander him, because he won't sit there and allow you to attack him and push the false Russia narrative that you are. Okay, you want to attack him for not putting up with that. You know, we had more than one president that acted like he does today. Okay, as a president. Okay. The bull moose himself, Roosevelt, and I'm not talking that socialist, Democrat, eugenicist FDR. I'm talking about his cousin Teddy. Okay. Well, I should say his relative, because I believe it's his cousin. But anyway, his relative Teddy. Okay. That man would make Trump look mellow in comparison with the things that came out of his mouth. Okay. He would make Trump seem like a reasonable man to a far-leaning leftist, because they'd go, whoa, Teddy Roosevelt's like that and he's like that, and they would probably get a clue that Trump isn't as bad as they think he is, because he doesn't put up with the shit, and he calls shit as he sees it, and if you don't like it, he doesn't care. Well, Teddy Roosevelt did a lot of that himself, and he wasn't nearly as nice as Trump has been about it. So, I mean, to try to take a shot at Trump here and act like he's, you know, the most unprofessional president, when that's not about professionalism, it's about being an alpha male in an environment where you're the head of the United States of America, the last superpower. You kind of need to have the whole, cocky bastard. Okay, because otherwise you get taken advantage of. And that's exactly what has happened here with the fact of, in the name of globalism and corporatism and things like that, okay, our country's been sold down the river, and we've had presidents like Obama, who was a controlled shill, but acting all, bend over and take it like he was. And he allowed for this stuff to go on. I mean, yes, he believes in like the globalism and the communism. I mean, his mentor was a communist. Okay, I mean, so the thing is we need someone like Trump in there doing what he's doing. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, we need someone to open his mouth and just not sit there and take stuff with a smile as we're getting porked. Okay. That's what Democrats don't want, because they want this globalism. They want unchecked borders. They want illegal aliens. Everything that they want, Trump is against. That's why they hate him so much. Okay. Let's just get through the last of this article here, and I'm going to sign off, so to speak. It also convinces people not in Washington or not involved in politics that the people who are representing them in D.C. have no real idea what they care about or value. That's a very bad thing for the long-term health of our democracy. No, that's a very bad thing for the long-term health of the Democrats. That's another area where he dropped the ball because he doesn't want to admit it. He's not talking about democracy. He's talking about the Democrats. Okay? Because they act like this, and people are waking up to the fact that they really don't give a shit. Okay? When you got Maxine, I'm wearing a James Brown wig, Waters, going Russia, 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 Russia. And she's making absolutely no sense. And she's connecting through like 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, but 10 times worse. Like there's like 30 degrees of separation. And she's going, look, right here, there's a tie. You got these 35 people between Putin and him. Look, he's definitely tied to Russia. We should impeach him. Okay? People are waking up to how delusional the Democrats are when they act like that, when they act like the children they are. So he's right. If you took the CY off and put a T, okay, he would be very accurate on that one. But I've basically broken this down and shown how CNN is look, when you say our democracy instead of Democrat, you're trying to like cover your ass, but on the same note, you're calling out the Democrats to faux distance yourself. It's pretty bad when the criminal news, Clinton News Network, has to separate themselves from the Democrats for something like this, or at least faux separate themselves. But anyways, this is my video here for this article. If you liked it, hit the like button down there and subscribe. This is the Constitutionalist Libertarian. You all have a great day.